Okay. So right now, Derrick is trying to start up, and I'll let you know when we going live. Okay? He's getting ready to go
Okay.
live. It's getting ready. It's getting ready. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. All right. We are now live. All right. Very happy to have you on today. Been really doing a lot of promotions on this interview, and I know that you're in the process of picking kids up and trying to get to practice with them and everything. But I want you to know a lot of people have reached out and they really want to hear um, what you got to say tonight about working with the youth. And hopefully, at some point of this interview, before it ends, you'll get the chance to kind of let us see some of the youth and possibly some of the coaches that you are working with in order to help our youth. I know that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of more work than people know when you're working with youth, as well as there's a lot of people who have reached back out to us. And keep in mind, there's some other countries that this will see this interview as well, but in their country is nighttime, so it's not the same time that we have here. So generally, they reach out to Jackie and in the Congo and over there in the Republic and over in London. And then she found out today we have a viewers over there in Russia. So being on this podcast, that's why we're so adamant about it and how we do it, and we just appreciate everyone who comes on to allow us to interview them. Because there's so many people that's hearing what you're saying, and we later on get feedback from them, as well as there's going to be a chat section. So hopefully there's some people that view but they don't chat, but then there's some people who view and they do chat. So if we get to that part, I'll read off some of the chats. If not, it'll be on YouTube forever. Okay? You hear me, Derrick? Okay. So I'm gonna open up, but just telling you to kind of talk a little bit about how did you get involved with the youth, and how long have you actually been doing this?
Derek, could you
Well,
introduce yourself too? Introduce yourself, who you are and how you.
hello,
Yeah. Okay.
hello. How you doing? I'm Derrick Williams. They call me Coach Mouton. I mean, that's my previous name. So I got a change, but everybody know me Mouton. Where I grew up. I've been coaching
Uh huh.
almost about off and on for like 22 years, 24 years, something
Oh.
like that.
Uh
Funny
huh.
thing is about it, how I got started is funny. I always tell people I had it started when I was a kid. I was like 19. My little cousin, he started playing football. He was scared to play. He didn't want to play football. He thought it was gonna be like a little bad sport, but he didn't like it. So funny thing is, I ended up getting a speeding ticket one time, and I was a kid, and so paid the ticket. They wanted community, and I ended up just doing it. I said, well, I do community service. So you can go any non-profit organization and get signed up. And
Uh
so I
huh.
ended up just doing one of my son, my cousin played it.
Uh
We
huh.
ended up playing, we ended up going to his game. And they said, it's community service. I'm like, okay. So I ended up helping around to the concession stand.
Mhm.
One state for fall in 2 years. And they're like, hey, would you want to help out? And help our coach and do the concession stand. I started out just doing the concession stand. I like, I help our coach, and I ended up getting on with my little cousin team. And I ended up start coaching there, and then from then on, I ended up liking it. The kids, it was a passion of me from when I was a kid. Then older, it was just, I gave back to the community to help the little kids out. And I just love coaching. I've been around the kids. I just do the things we do.
Mm-hmm. So you say that you've been doing this since you was 19? You've been coaching since you was 19?
Yes, 19. Then I took a brief. I coached for like 4 years straight, and then I ended up, started working. I couldn't coach for like maybe 5 years, and I got back into the coaching. Then I ended up, my son started playing, and then I started coaching. That's when I started coaching again. When my daughter started doing, my oldest daughter, she ended up doing the drill team.
Okay.
I started coaching then, and that's what made me start back coaching.
Okay.
And I've been doing it ever since. My kids are all grown. I got a youngest one. She's 11, but she don't play football. But she does on the drill team. But I just coach right now. That's just something I like to do. Give back to the kids in the community. So it's great.
Let me ask you this question, because all of us who do something and have a passion about what we are doing, like working with the youth, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important would you say it is for any of us to work with the youth, and what is the largest component of being involved in their lives like that?
1 to 10 for coaching. I mean, for me coaching.
Working with the youth.
Oh man, it's our time 10. I love coaching with them. I mean, this is what I do. I mean, I was doing 2-3 sports, but I settled down with it. Football is one of the sports I love. So football is the main sport that I do all year long. So just it's nice to see the kids, grow up, be 7 and 8, and then they be 12, they become teenagers playing on the high school level. Some and they already play college and also pro.
Good.
So,
and some of those are actually some of the youth that you worked with.
Some of the kids I work with again.
Some of the ones who went to the NFL, those are some of the ones that you went to, that you worked with in college, NFL, from today's point.
Yeah, I have a few, that they didn't play college and pro ball. They don't play no. And I also coach with a couple of guys that have played NFL. On our own time, Wayne Randall, who was owner of this organization. I had played ball with him. We went to school together, and he went to Michigan State, and then he ended up playing for New England Patriots and winning the ring with New England.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So,
Derrick, I have. Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but do you find that you get any opposition from the parents of these kids, wanting them to do something other than play ball? Or
well, some of the things is we deal with kids that want to play ball, but their parents can't afford, so we have to find a way for them to get registration paid. We do fundraisers, we do anything. We really never turn a kid down. I just pulled up to the practice. The guy about that on the President League, he's here that used to play for New England Patriots. He's right next to the car. I can get in the car and have a couple of words with him before he gets.
Oh, good.
That would be
that'd
awesome.
be exciting.
That would be awesome. Would really love that. What you are doing.
It might be.
What you are doing with the youth, I don't know, we lost Jackie, but what you are doing with the youth is, it's amazing, because sometimes I feel like the young people are getting left behind in so many ways. And
I agree.
I just feel like we have got to do more if we want them to want more. We are that example.
And I think, Derrick, I've heard stories of kids who say, well, if it weren't for my little league coach, I'd have gotten into a gang. If it weren't for playing baseball or football, I'd have gotten into a gang. And
yeah, they're trying to.
Negotiate.
This guy on the right here.
Hi, how you
He's the
doing?
New England Patriots. All right, and you?
We fine. We
Good.
doing this.
I'm excited.
We doing this podcast on today, and that's my son-in-law there, and he was telling me he's talking to us about working with the youth, and so he was giving us some information about you and letting us meet you. So you want to say a little bit?
Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself first, so people know who you are.
Hello, my name is Wayne Randall. Wayne Randall from Lamont. Went to College of Michigan State, and like he said, played in New England.
Played for the Patriots. Played for the New England Patriots.
Yeah, played for the.
And you got a Super Bowl ring?
Played for the Patriots for 4 years, and yes.
Ooh, I'm impressed.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, one of the things that we try to do, thank you, Derrick, for that opportunity. One of the things that we try to do on the podcast is to just reach as many people as we can, because here's one of the things that's so important about working, what I'm seeing with the youth. It's not just on a local level. What you are doing is in the thoughts and minds of men all over this world. I was listening on Sirius XM, and then I was reading some quotes from Colin Powell that we just lost. And one of the things that he said, they said about him, was his drive for young people. You know, he was 84, but his drive for young people was so high that when he would go places, and I know by you being my son-in-law, I see it, how the young people would just pack the venues that they would be in, because young people really do want to hear, especially boys, they want to hear and see young men like yourself that continue to work to them and work with them and feed positive into them. Too often it's so much negative going on that these kids really are looking for some positivity. It's too much negative. We don't talk about the kids that's trying. We always talk about the ones who shooting and killing and robbing and all that. But what about those kids who are trying their best? What would you say about that?
Right. I think that's what the media wants. That's what sells. Just negativity.
Yeah.
And I think, we're missing a lot of just role models. Like, a lot of kids look up to athletes to be role models. I mean, athletes should, but I think it starts at home, though, with everything.
I think that's why a podcast like this of Electra's is so important, because as she and I have talked about so many times, there are lots of big name celebrities who are out there on television saying, "Oh, let's stop bullying. Oh, let's encourage sports," but they're not really.
Example.
A lot of them are not really good examples, right? Mm-hmm. And they're not local. So the kids can't reach out to them. Can't touch their lives. But that's why it's so important that we have local heroes, local people who talk about.
I think a lot of the problem is I know with the black youth,
Uh-huh.
parents now they tell their kids that they're gonna make it to the NBA, NFL, and they feel that's their only way out.
Uh-huh.
And honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of them don't work hard enough to even get there.
Yeah.
They don't even know where to start. Like it's just to get to that level, it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work. You have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And do you
And
find that it's hard for them to be consistent because they don't have the backup of their family or whatever saying not just not saying work hard, but not giving them the opportunity to work hard, instead saying, well, you're wasting your time doing that or whatever. Do you think it would make a lot of difference if parents were more involved in their children's lives as far as their sports? And I know it would make a difference in their schooling, education.
I think it would, just like even with us. Like we coach
Mm.
youth sports. There's 220 kids out here, right?
Uh-huh.
We probably have about 35 parents. We'd say 35,
Really?
40 parents who can watch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the parents are just dropping their kids off when they leave. Or the coaches
Yeah.
picking kids up and bringing them to practice, feed them and doing everything for them. So there's
Mhm.
no support.
Yeah. The parents are treating it like babysitting. You know, that's
Yeah,
not.
free babysitting.
Yeah.
But they'll
And
come to the games and they're clown, they act a fool.
mm,
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
see,
Mhm.
that's the part that is so irritating. And I want to ask this question with you saying that. How do y'all deal with the parents who don't have that same level of concern like y'all do?
I mean, I guess you try to do what's best for the kid. Try to do the best you can. I mean, you can't save everybody, so you save the ones you can. I hate to say it, it sounds kind of harsh, but
No, we need
you
to.
just
But we need to
save
hear
the ones
that. That's the truth. That's the
you say the
truth.
ones and the other ones, because you have at the end of the day with the kids, it come down to making choices. I can teach you as a parent, I can raise you the right way, I can show you all.
Mhm.
Yeah, it all comes down to choices, and
You
I
have to make
think
that choice.
Yeah, you
So
got
you give it one under the sun, but if he choose,
your
to go down
audio
that wrong
keeps
path,
cutting out. Yeah,
and that's a sad thing about it.
that is
Derrick?
a slap. That is a slap in y'all's face because y'all do so much and
Mhm.
y'all fight so hard to try to make sure that these kids have some optimism about life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
kids don't know
Right.
more than what you teach them.
Right.
That's
And
true.
it
And-
takes
And
go ahead, Jackie.
I was just gonna say it's a
But to their defense too, like a lot of the coaches try to do the right thing, but we still have some who still do
I
dumb
know.
stuff and can't see that, and they pick up on it. So
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
coach is not a good role model.
Uh-huh.
Well, something that I was talking to a lawyer about even yesterday. I have a philosophy about adults and children, and my philosophy is that it is the responsibility of every adult to protect every child. And if you, as an adult, see a child, see another adult following a child inappropriately or talking to a child inappropriately, no, you can't touch that child and you can't touch that adult, but you can certainly stand in between them. Every adult who has a conscience, who is a true humanitarian, has the responsibility to help every child not only get out of danger, but to succeed, to have confidence in themselves so that they can stay out of danger. And that's what I see you and Derrick doing, standing between those coaches who unfortunately are not the best examples. giving that example, standing between them, protecting those children. And that's what I see. And I think that's so important because there aren't a lot of adults, unfortunately, who even see the need to stand between. And you guys do. You guys see the need to help these kids have something positive in their life and to stand between the bad influences. And I'm so grateful for that. Who knows?
One of the things that I'm going to say, and this is because we both work in the college system. Well, Jackie has since retired, but I'm still in there. And the amazing thing about talking to you guys today, what's so amazing about it is the fact that y'all hear what the parents don't even hear, just like we hear when counseling these kids. We hear what the parents don't hear. I can tell you, we hear a lot of frustration. We hear young people coming in, like Jackie said, they look up to you guys more than y'all even know. They will sit down in a counseling session and they will tell you, it's my coach this, my coach that. When my coach, only time I ever been out of town was when my coach took me. They say stuff like that. And we hear that and they break down in our offices. And the parents, they not even trying to, a lot of them, not everybody, but there's an enormous amount who is not there as a support system, nowhere in the picture. Nowhere. And those kids come to us frustrated. So my next question is, when y'all start dealing with the frustration, how do y'all handle that?
I mean, it's a task. It's a task. So like we deal with, like right now, I can give a prime example. We dealing with parents that they believe we owe it to them to just come pick up their kid. We don't ask for no gas money. No. We just ask them to have the kids ready to go to practice and we pick them up. I mean, at the end of the day, it used to upset us how the parents act. But at the end of the day, we know, like I say it all the time, there's no kid that drives to practice. So we can't never get mad at a kid that don't come to practice. They want to come, but they don't drive. It's the parents. And if you don't get the parents to station, it's always like a little problem, But we just, at the end of the day, we get upset, and I ain't gonna say that we just stand and like, okay, this parent here was all right. We're gonna let them make it. It all works out. Sometimes we get upset with the parents, and the parents get upset with us. They take their kids to a different organization. But at the end of the day, we just want our kids, you never know if you can change one kid, you did your job, I mean, at the end of the day, these kids want to have fun and live and play. You try to teach them to be the best young man they can be on the field and off the field. And I mean, it's a hassle. Don't get me wrong. It is a hassle sometimes dealing with some of these parents and these egos. So it is a hassle.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you make a kid smile, it's all worth it, though.
Yeah.
And I think.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Go ahead, Electra.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think when you see, and as Electra said, we both worked in the system. When you see these kids, even some of them who ended up getting in trouble. And I had a kid in my office one time. He came the first time with his mother, and every word he said, his mother was like, "You're wasting your time. You're not going to succeed. You're not going to be able to do this. You can't do this. You can't do that." And he left very dejected. But I gave him my business card, and I said, "Come back and see me." And he came back the next day. He walked the 8 miles to the college, and he came back to see me. And basically he told me, yes, he had done some time, 6 months or something like that in jail because of drugs. He said, but the whole time I was in jail, I remember my coach telling me,
they do.
You make choices. You are responsible for your own choices. And are you going to be a successful man, or are you going to be the kind of man that drags other people down? And he says, I don't want to be that that man that drags people down. I don't want to be that man that my mother thinks I obviously must turn out to be. I want to be a success. And he related that need, that desire to better himself, not to his parents, but to his coach, his little league, middle school, high school coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, Derrick, that young man, after I had to retire, I ran into him getting his master's degree, being a success. And that success, I hope that he remembers me, but I hope even more that he remembers his coaches, and he repays society by being a coach himself, or being a mentor to the youth. Because there are too many youth that have no one other than their coaches and their teachers who believe in them. And for you to believe in them enough that no matter how prideful their parents are, no matter how ignorant their parents are, or how much their parents want to just use the system, you're not going to give up on those kids. And that means volumes down the road. You know, you may never see those kids again when they leave your team, but know that they know you. They know you. You are a good example.
Have you ever had any of your youth that you've worked with to get in any kind of trouble where you kind of had to be that support system? Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Yeah, all the time. We had some kids that got in trouble, stealing in the store. We had some kids that ended up getting into a fight. We had some kids that ended up almost shooting someone. I mean, we try our best. Like always, I think the rule is now, it's kind of different from the past. Back in the day, it wasn't no social media.
Right.
So the social media, everything you do it's like you got an eye on you now. So when they do something, it gets posted or whatever, and bad or good, you can just say it. But you just try to tell the kid to hold on. And I tell the kid all the time, even if your parents weren't there for you, I mean, at the end of the day, you're healthy. You know, you got all your limbs and everything. Now it's your choice to make yourself right. You can see the struggle. That's what's gonna make you stronger. That's gonna build your character up. That's what's gonna get you to the next level. And I tell some of the kids, hey, man, at the end of the day, even if this football don't work out, because we have 220 kids, and I tell them all the time, maybe 5 of y'all will make it to the NFL. Right? The other ones of the day, you got to degree and you got to become something. You know what I'm saying? You could be the owner of anything. You ain't always got to be a football player. You could be the owner of football. You can learn to get your money and own the players. You know what I'm saying? That's what you can do. You just, at the end of the day, use the football to get the scholarship so you can become whatever you want to be, get the free ride.
Yeah. So you have had that to happen with some of the young people that you've worked with.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Derrick, how does it touch your heart personally and I don't know if this has happened, have you, with all of the gun violence and all of this going on, to find out that maybe somebody that you coached lost their lives to current day situations in gun violence, gang violence, all of that? How would you say, as a coach, if you've had that experience, how did it make you feel?
Oh man, we had it one time. We had it with a kid I had played with. I had him for like 5 years. Make the right decision, the wrong place at the wrong time. Ended up getting shot in like a little robbery, man. But this kid could have ended up going to college into the NFL. But, after they get out of high school, they think they're grown and they make bad decisions sometimes. I mean, you still don't have that support base. At the end of the day, the kid, 17, 18 years old, they're kids. They're going to make bad decisions. But and this one particular time, this decision right here cost him his life, And I mean, it hurts, you know what I'm saying? Because you be like, man, he grew up with your son. I mean, he grew up with my kids. They played on each other's team for like 5 years.
Mm.
And it was a hurting thing to go to a funeral to see one of the kids. And it messed up my kid at the house. They was messed up about it. To this day, they still messed up about it. They lost 2 friends like that.
Mm.
So it really hit home when that happened. You know?
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to parents who have the parents of young Black children as they are getting ready to come into society? You know, I'm talking about 7, 8 years old. What advice would you give those parents to help steer those kids into the direction where they can have the positive influences? What would you tell those parents would be the steps to take, even with their kids being that young, get them to make responsible choices?
Well, I tell them, you know, one of the things that when I was young, that my grandma put me in sports, you know, just to keep me off the street. I mean, I think that's another thing about the sports. The sports, they just, you know, it makes the kids lazy now. The kids used to go outside and play. Kids don't even go outside and play anymore. All they want to do is stay on them iPads and the computers, do all the little things. So my thing is, the kids kind of just built different now, you know. But the whole thing is, you want these kids to be outside. You want these kids to do something. You don't want them to sit in the house. It's a sport they can play all year long, man. Then it's a way you can fundraise. And if you don't have the money, still it's a way that you can fundraise and get the money. So football, basketball, baseball, track, all them different seasons. So you keep the kids involved, keep them busy, man. You know, just keep them up, because you're giving them iPads and you're not even doing parental codes control of it. So you don't know what these kids on the internet doing, man. So that's another thing they can do. So right now, the whole thing you want to do right now is just keep your prayers for the kids and just tell them to just do something positive. Just try. They might not even like it, you know what I'm saying? But they're kids. They don't know what they like. So make them try everything. Soccer, basketball.
Different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I'm sorry, Electra. You know me, I just talk. I know this is Electra's podcast, but we had a young man on that, Derrick, you might know him, Mike McAfee, and I'm quoting him all the time because he impressed me so much. One of the things, and he got in a lot of big trouble in his life, and he is fine to come out on the other end. But the number one thing, you know, we asked him is, what could have been done differently? And he said, truthfully, there's not a lot. When you get to the age of, you know, 12, 13, 14 years old, by then it's too late. You really need to start young. But the one thing that your family can do, the one thing that anybody can do is pray for you. He says, I never underestimate the power of prayer. And he says that is what pulled him out. And I think that being an example, like you are, being an example of a good father, a good husband, and a good coach, I think that's an answer to prayer of a lot of parents. And I hope that you understand. I know you do a lot of work. I know it's hard. I know all that. But I also know that you are an answer to prayer, and I want you to know that.
Yeah, you are. I know it's starting to get dark out there. So what I want to do, Derrick, I want to go in the chat section, because you've got some chats over here that I want to let you know, people are on and they're saying things, okay?
All right.
Okay, so, in the chat section, we have a viewer that's saying coaching kids for more than 22 years, right? They want to get it clear that 22 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Started, man, a little bit older. I mean, it might be 24 years, 25 years now.
Yeah. Okay. We have another viewer who says, it's very important that we let every child know that their lives are worth living. This is a blessing to hear these young men speak. and that viewer was when you had brought on the NFL player. I don't know, what is his name again, and who was that he played for?
His name was Greg Randall. He ended up playing for the New England Patriots. Then he played for the Houston Texans for 2 years.
Okay. So they was kind of just, this viewer was just thanking both of you for your work that you're doing and coming on to this podcast to share the information. We have another viewer says, and you know, this one is your spouse. She says, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. He really does care a lot about those children. He will give his all, but he has to make sure, almost to a fault. Laugh out loud. That was your spouse saying that. Your wife, she's on viewing it. We have another viewer saying, you guys are truly a blessing to these kids' lives. We have another viewer saying, despite the lack of support from the parents, at the end of the day, it's about the kids. And you know what, Derrick? I want you to elaborate on that a little bit, just a little bit, because the viewer is saying that despite the lack of support from the parents, at the end of the day, it's about the kids. So that's how.
Yeah, it's about the kids, man.
So y'all don't look at.
Yeah, it's definitely. You broke up on me a little bit.
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay, so repeat the question again.
This viewer is talking about, in spite of the things that y'all go through with the parents, that how y'all keep y'all's focus on the kids. Just want you to talk a little bit about the importance of that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, like I said before, man, sometimes it's a hassle. We get some great parents, you get some bad, some ugly parents. You know, they bad. But at the end of the day, a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, it's about them. It's never about the adults. It's always about the kid.
Okay.
So we tend to do the little things, and we just make sure that, at the end of the day, even though we're upset or not, we just are calm. At the end of the day, as long as we get the kid there, our kid make it. That's all that counts. We can't get mad at everybody all the time. That's what we deal with.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Okay. Well, we have another viewer who says, I just want to say that you do an awesome job with the kids. Keep doing what you are doing. So that's a viewer giving you accolades, saying just keep it, you're doing an awesome job with what you are doing. So just keep doing what you are doing. And then we have just as a reminder that the gentleman name is Greg Randall, who played for the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans. And they wanted to just give him a thank you as well when you get a chance for you allowing him to be a part of your interview, because this is your interview. And we thank you for that. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yes. Is there anything else? Because we know you're at practice, but we had a lot of people who, was waiting on this interview. So we wanted to make sure that we got you on here. And we do respect the fact that you are out there now trying to do something with these kids at this practice and everything. Do you have anybody else you want to introduce us to the kids, some of your players, or some of the other coaches?
I can take a listen to. I'm working on the field, but I know they busy. It's playoff time, so they a little focused in it. But I'm gonna show you a picture of me walking at the practice.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
I'm approaching practice right now.
Okay.
I got two teams. My 12U team, they nationally ranked. We go to nationals in December. This is my 8-year bunch. They right here.
Mm-hmm.
These are small kids. They 8 years old.
Oh.
You know,
Oh, I love that. I
they
love that.
That's
we had
awesome.
practice and they just we just
Mhm.
been an inspiration to them. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
We just try to be there for them. They got one of the parents right here. They got a kid on the team. And we just try to
I
do the
do.
little things to have them have fun out here.
That's all right there.
So, but I'm at practice. Thank y'all for having me here.
We're
Thank
Uh,
you so much.
we are
all
so
right. Love y'all. I'm glad y'all doing the iPad. Y'all doing the inspirational things for the community. So thank y'all. Awesome.
okay. All right.
Thank you,
You,
Derrick.
All right.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
okay.
Bye.
Bye bye.